NIP's turn to ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. NIP's turn to ban. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. NIP's turn to pick.
Mars!
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Crystal Maiden.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. NIP's turn to pick.
Enchantress.
Radiant team ban.
Spectre.
We're here, we're ready. Series number 3, Viking GG versus NIP. Game 1 draft is ready for you guys to enjoy here. And I've got my panel ready for you guys to enjoy as well. I've got Go lads, NIP versus Viking GG, talking about some spicy stuff there in the break. I'm expecting a techies. What are you guys expecting?
Not a techies.
It's going to be techies, baby. I'm doing it. I'm feeling it. Let's go NIP.
Well, I mean, we see the openers already. Kind of stock standard by Viking
Radiant
GG. They always
team
emphasize on team fighting and not necessarily strong lanes, but they have generally their offlaner as well as their mid kind of set the tempo of the games. As you can see here, we already got the offlane hero, the Viking GG. Right now, they can pair it up with anything in the second phase. They played Lina, they play Snapfire. There's a lot of heroes that can play in a position that pairs up really nicely with them.
I feel like Snapfire would be really good. Like
remaining.
when you're versing against Crystal Maiden, all you have to consider about is kill this posi 5, not a carry. If you, as long as you kill him without losing too much HP, I think they're gonna be in like very good spot. So with the Mars and Enchantress, I think they pretty much secured like a off lane and safe lane already. Yeah.
So you think that this Mars is just good enough against the Crystal Maiden and the Spectre lane that NIP's not going to get off to a good start there for Shad?
Yeah, I
10
think like
seconds
with the Spectre
remaining.
and Crystal Maiden, most likely they're gonna be laning together,
5
and
seconds
Mars plus
remaining.
anything gonna win like a one lane. As Enchantress already like secures like a
Yeah.
one sort of lane.
The one thing I don't like about this CM opener is
Radiant
normally when they pick
team
CM
back.
or other teams pick Crystal Maiden, you have this idea of that you can tri-lane, aggro tri-lane with it, right? And make use of the Crystal Nova, but with Spectre into an Enchantress, you can't really do that. It's not that strong in the phase itself. And that means their flexibility when it comes to the lanes will be less, which is
10
unusual
seconds
because
remaining.
NIP is they don't play straight, as QO says, so you can't really go for that
5
approach.
seconds.
So you've got a few good adjectives for offlane players. You've got the dirty hero players and the non-straight players.
Yeah, like I mean, they're in Dota, like there's very, you know, like play with this imagination going on with their head, or there's like some people who wants to just be efficient and then play out the games. And I just feel like the bunch of players from like NIP, they're more creative.
They think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, and Viking is more straightforward. Like boom, he wants to really win with like his like mechanics. It's like yeah, just a Dota skill wise. Yeah, we just have to see whose draft is like better.
What do
at
we
this
take
rate.
from this Alchemist ban, boys? Is there much to take from it? I think we've only seen it once here. So, I mean, this hero to me has always looked bad. So, like, can we take anything away from?
Well,
this
Viking
Alchemist?
GG plays a lot of timing strats, right? So
NIP's
Alchemist kind of makes
turn
sense
to
with
ban.
how they play the game with Dota, but that being said, normally they don't tend to play this Alchemist mid. When they play these timing strats, they really like to abuse the Battlefiend, primarily with the fast Black King buff first item. But yeah, I don't really expect Viking GG to kind of play
10
like they have in the
seconds
previous
remaining.
because as we saw in the very last series they played against Real Legacy, they
5
completely
seconds
changed their
remaining.
opener, they completely changed the way they kind of see Dota because they want to be less predictable. We talked to, I think, in one of the interviews, and they also were
turn to
talking
pick.
about that. So what I like is that they're going to be harder to read in the opener as well as in the second phase, which means it'll be harder for NIP to adapt their lanes accordingly because they don't really have that great read as they probably would in the previous Viking GG, how they were playing. So coming into the
10
second phase here, I
seconds
feel it's pretty kind of hard for NIP to draft into it. As you said, their side lanes
5
is going to be
seconds
pretty
remaining.
hard to play into, right? And since they've already opened the Spectre, there's only really one way to go about this game is you want to play strong lanes and allow Spectre to farm and then you can the horns.
Well,
What do
the
you pick?
problem is, yeah, the Viking GG will be seeing this NIP picking and like adapting into it. So yeah, I'm a bit worried how NIP will solve out this
Well, what's a strong offlane that's left here for Saberlight? You guys
See-
talked about his Beastmaster a little bit here. I mean, I
Radiant
feel like there's
team
quite a
pick.
few that's sitting out for us. They're going to pick their own.
Yeah, see, the thing is, a lot of heroes that Saberlight would like to pick in the offlane are very easily dealable with the Enchantress. Beastmaster just
ET.
steal the boar, you can't go for that approach. If you go for the ET, you can debuff the actual damage. So there's
10
only really,
seconds
what,
remaining.
Magnus, which might be banned? No, it's not banned. I guess there's one, which is Magnus, but it's
5
not necessarily a
seconds
strong
remaining.
laner.
NIP
But
turn
it's
to
one of the
pick.
heroes that Saberlight has played quite a lot.
Shadow Demon.
scary.
And it's a pretty strong lane coming in there from Viking GG.
I'm surprised Magnus is still not banned though.
Is it because both these teams don't want to have to play with the Magnetar? We've seen it a few times in that offlane, that position 5 role. It has been
10
run over a
seconds
little bit
remaining.
here. Obviously, it is a Saberlight hero, so maybe Ninjas and Pyjamas want to go for that, but
5 seconds
I don't
remaining.
know. I feel like teams have been starting to move away from the Magnus a little bit, trying to go for more bigger team fight.
Viking GG don't normally play it, but the thing about Viking GG, they play Rubik. So I
Radiant
like this
team
opener third pick here by NIP. They've actually taken the approach of stealing the Rubik, as well as if they wanted to go Magnus, they could have, and they don't have to deal with it. But they went Underlord, which it's a little questionable.
Yeah, I think Draw Ranger could be good, but like they're versing against Spectres,
10
so they
seconds
might not really
remaining.
it, but we've seen that Mika playing Juggernaut against
5
Underlord. I
seconds
think
remaining.
he dominated that lane, had like really fast Battle Fury. Slark is another hero that I really like in this game, just because versing against the Underlord and Spectre, like rushing that shit. What is it? Silver Edge will be like a big additional.
What's the Shad hero here for Viking GG?
Radiant team
Well, a lot of
They
ban.
have
them
to
are
be
banned.
carry.
Juggernaut.
Okay, so just going to go for the Juggernaut, taking a leaf out of Liquid's book here. I mean, it gives them the spin to get rid of all the negative attack. You can get out of the Pit of Malice as well from the Underlord, but do they have enough damage to kill this Underlord in lane? Like Enchantress
NIPs
plus
turn to
Jug?
The
ban.
Enchantress slow is insane. Like it's actually like, and then the right clicks coming up from the creeps and Enchantress right click and Juggernaut right click. If it all adds up, I'm pretty sure they're gonna damage to right click him like it off to finish
10
after.
seconds remaining.
The lanes are pretty strong, the side lanes.
5
Ninjas
seconds
in Pyjamas,
remaining.
bit.
Okay, at least they have Supreme's last pick here. Really
Radiant
important because
team ban.
both these two players, both Boom as well as they always play these very mechanical, skilled mid heroes. I think for NIP, especially NIP, they really rely on Supreme to kind of like relieve pressure in the sidelines. We've seen it time and time with the Queen Pain, with the Storm, where he just has a good start and then he just runs around
10
and
seconds
creates enough
remaining.
space for Charlie to just come online. And I mean, it seems like one of those games
5
where you can go for
seconds
that
remaining.
approach here.
What are the final bans we're looking at, boys? Obviously, as we said, Boom and as well as Supreme Heroes is left here. Void Spirits get
NIPs
taken out,
turn
the
to
Invoker gets
ban.
taken out as well. You guys touched on the Storm Spirit, the Queen of Pain still
Storm's
there
banned.
as well.
Yeah, the-
Lena's still in the pool.
I'm liking the Queen. There's just a lack of disable coming Viking GG, so NIP both to see a more phase here.
No, I think Boom is really popular for
seconds remaining.
campaign. Like I think he had whatever the hero
5
that he
seconds
versed, he was
remaining.
always farmed, and he played with like a small. He made this small angle work it out, so he can't get his farm like up, even if it's a bad game for him.
Radiant team pick.
We're gonna get rid of the Viper here, so nobody wants to play against that anymore. Looks like Weeha set a bit of a precedent.
I'm feeling if Boom goes Queen of Pain, NIP might just go for the lean. But there's no really good roaming forward. From actually both angles don't really have a good roaming forward.
10 seconds
Might be
remaining.
hard to go in. Whereas the Queen of Pain, you have that blink, you're always kind of
5
like
seconds
enabled to
remaining.
get away from ganks.
I really think like Vikings can just pick Lina. There's no counter. There's no good like a good catch from NIP. Spectre on the Lord. Their damage isn't like a burst damage. Lina with this like a health talent with like the high level. I don't think he can ever
NIPs
get
turn
burst
to
down.
pick.
Tiny.
Even
They
if
went
they're
back to
tiny, okay.
That's weird.
Well, is there anything that Ninjas in Pyjamas can now pick to punish this Tiny? We've seen it a few times from a lot of these Tiny pickers. They're more than happy to go into these bad matchups because they feel confident in that hero. But, I mean, is Boom one of those players for
10
you guys?
seconds
Can he come
remaining.
out on top no matter what the matchup is going to be here for Ninjas in Pyjamas?
He did struggle with one of the
5
series where he was
seconds
playing
remaining.
Tiny, but there was another game as well where he played exceptionally well, so
I just don't like it against Underlord and Spectre, or the heroes that's Tiny is like really, really bad against. But like Rubik and Crystal Maiden are easily pickable. I think that's the main. Like, they pick Tiny for mid most likely.
So it just gives them that quick pick off on the Crystal Maiden. You don't have to worry about that freezing field. There's no more Nova you have to deal
Supreme's
with.
just gonna go for that Lina or Quap, right? I mean, they're still both open.
Still in the pool, yep.
Yeah.
Still in the pool here. See what they're going to go for. They're going to go
You
for the
may
Queen of
now
Pain here
select
for
your heroes.
Pyjamas. So rounding it out with a little bit more magic burst, a little bit more high tempo as well here for Ninja Pyjamas. Is this enough though for them to hold off on the onslaught from Viking GG? Do they have enough space creators for this Spectre of Charlie? It's a real question, I think.
I
Ninja
like an
Pyjamas.
IP lineup actually. I like how the Quap's gonna match up into the Tiny. And I also agree with you. I don't think the Tiny's gonna be that effective here because against the Queen of Pain, you're just gonna draining your regen and then you can't really get that fast blink. And then you can't really burst two of these heroes. Once the Lord gets items, it's gonna be hard to like fight into them when they group up as well.
I just don't think this Tiny can get out his Spectre enough.
So you feel like that,
Yeah.
unfortunately for Boom, he's just going to have a rough time against all these heroes.
10 seconds remaining.
Pyjamas. Lads, while we start heading into game number 1 here, who are we picking for predictions?
5 seconds remaining.
What about you, Kyo?
I'll go with NIP as well.
Okay. I thought there was a little bit something extra there from Kyo, but unfortunately he doesn't give it to me this time. So Ninjas in Pyjamas are the pick here from the panel, so we're going to hand it over to our casters to see what their pick is. It's going to be OD Pixel and Fogged.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Viking GG versus Ninjas in Pyjamas. I'm Pixel here with Fog. Fog, what do you reckon from these lineups, eh? I'm seeing yet again another Spectre turning up today. Has the Spectre been truly punished, though, by what we've had Viking GG come up with in response?
For me, not so much. I actually really like what NIP's rounded themselves off with. I do feel like Viking GG, they have to play pretty perfect this game. I'm looking at their draft and it's like very mid-gamey timing. I feel like if they make too many mistakes in that mid-game, I feel like the game is just over. Hopefully they can even come out into that mid-game strong too, because I feel like this Queen of Pain pick is pretty damn good. I feel like this is going to break a lot of that boom aggression. Yeah,
it's just going to be interesting to see sort of what sort of start he's able to have, and if indeed what you imagine what lane setup regardless, this Quap should be off to a good start, and is going to be able to make moves in a way that there's not really going to be a core that's going to be that active in response that early against the Quap.
No, not really, and she doesn't have many stuns she's playing into either. It's Spear and the Tiny combo. Pretty much that's it. Disruption from Shadow Demons, like, you know, to whatever. You can usually play pretty decently around that. So I feel like, yeah, for Supreme, it looks like a pretty damn good Queen of Pain game from the start all the way along to that mid game and everything. Looks really good for him.
So what are sort of the strengths of Viking GG's lineup? What do you think that they have got going for them that is what they have looked towards with the draft they come out with?
They're still fast. I do like two of their lanes. I'm still pretty happy with like the Enchantress Jug, this Shadow Demon, and this Mars. They can also do pretty decent versus like CM and Spectre, but I feel like NIP, they don't mind. Like even if these lanes do go too bad, you're playing for the greed on the side of NIP, so you're fine even if they do go down. And also, I did see this Underlord plus Rubik, or Underlord plus, I guess this game it's going to be an Underlord CM as the duo on the offlane. I saw this matchup versus the Jug, and the Underlord a couple times, he just lived. Maybe the Enchantress can be the breaker. Last time I believe it was a disruptor in the lane where the Underlord tanked through it every time, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. The potential for Saberlight to be pretty strong down it. Look at some of the other lanes too. This top lane where we're going to have the Toby Mars paired up with the Aramis Shadow Demon.
Now, nobody wins.
Quite a bit of spam to pressure the Spectre early on. I mean, this top lane could be... I mean, do you think the Spectre's going to be fine? You're still farming it, or is it going to be enough between these two to cause issues for Charlie early on?
I like the two side lanes of Viking. I think they both could put on a lot of pressure. Like the Jug could kill the Underlord a lot of time. I could see the Mars and the Shadow Demon killing and putting pressure onto Spectre too. So I do like those side lanes. It's a little bit volatile on the bottom lane at least, but top one, I feel like Viking has to win pretty hard. They set themselves up for it, and Aramis has been one of those very impressive players for me a lot of the times that I've seen this team. He's always a standout, and I'm always looking forward to see like the Shadow Demons in particular. I love the hero, and I've seen I've seen Milan dominate on it recently, so looking forward to see what he can do as Aramis on the Shadow Demon.
Let's see.
Into Spectre too. The Spectre matchup with Shadow Demon is actually pretty cool. You can kill Spectre by yourself a lot of times with illusions. The way that
that is very true. I mean, the illusions that this SC is going to be creating at all points of the game are going to be could be used very strongly against NIP.
Yeah, like if you just like you ult the Spectre, get your own illusions of it, and have the illusions beating on the Spectre, the Shadow Demon will kill the Spectre a lot of the times in mid game as a support, which sounds kind of ridiculous, but. You know, just Desolate is just that insane of an ability.
Just kicking things off with Aramis, getting those stacks up as high as he can onto Charlie. Able to do a good job, of course, coming straight to the lane, not bringing any sticks with them. Won't have too much to counter this.
He missed two last hits avoiding Shadow Poisons there, avoiding that 5th stack. So already you've seen the damage coming out from the Shadow Demon, who's brought 3 mangoes and a Clarity too. So that spam, it's going to continue. And Charlie's going to miss quite a lot of CS just dodging the Shadow Poisons.
Yeah, it's going to give a lot of space to Toby. He's going to have a good start on the Mars here. Not only in the CS, as you say, there's this definite kill potentially from Viking GG after they get themselves a few levels under their belts.
Yep. See how good matchup ends up being. Off to a fantastic start in these first 2 levels here. Actually dominating the first 2 levels pretty hard. I saw Supreme, he went for Scream of Pain rather than going for Shadow Strike.
Yeah, I guess it's what the temptation is there to get the Scream first because you know you're going to be CSing against a hero that hits harder, but Well, you would always favor the harassment of the dagger against a melee hero rather than the attempt to secure a range with the scream.
Yeah, I didn't actually see lane positioning. I didn't see if it was like under his tower. Maybe that ended up happening. Maybe he overblocked. I actually missed the start of the lane because it does make quite a big difference. Because if he's able to have it in a good spot, you always go Shadow Strike and you harass. But I guess maybe it was under a tower, like you were mentioning, and he just needed it to last hit. That'll hurt. I feel like that's gonna be pretty nice for Boom.
Yeah, we'll see if things start to get a bit more rough for the Tiny now. The level 2 dagger's on for Supreme.
Yep. That's where the harassment really starts to kick in. Boom already has the bottle finished up pretty nicely. He rushed it, just naked with a Calling Blade and a Fairy Fire. At least have that. He'll probably need his supports to go check those runes for himself so he can keep sustained versus the Queen of Pain.
Radiant's courier.
Supreme's just gonna spam him. And Supreme does have CM or on top too.
Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah. These daggers are going to be constantly out. A little to slow that down from Supreme, especially with that Mango ready to pop too. Now we're seeing top lane continue to be a bit of a scary place for Charlie. Just getting even CS to Shad down on the other half of Viking. Both carries getting a similar amount of pressure applied.
Together with Enigma, Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, the thing is that Jug can at least always pose a kill threat onto the Underlord, right? And the Rubik, while on the other side, Spectre CM, you'll never threaten the top lane. If Viking GG dies up here, that's a...
I'll just die up here.
They never will die up here, yeah.
If you're dying to Spectre and laning stage, especially when you're these two heroes with, what, 2 ways to hold him back, Disruption or pushing him back with the God's Rebuke of the Spear, they are not dying to this duo lane. That's going to be down to Supreme hitting the 6 and making the moves.
So looking at the way that things are starting to progress, they're kind of winning all 3 lanes in a way. Mid is going to be a little bit volatile, but top. There's that
get the setup. I mean, this is what's going to happen. You've got to be so careful. You know, Misha, he wasn't really in a risky place, but he was still in a place that the Aramis is just able to set up with the disruption. Combo comes through from Toby, and you can't run.
That's actually, it's actually a very, very scary lane to be up against. So many different forms of control for them to stack up the poisons. And we know once you hit that 5 stack, you're dead in 90% of situations. Yeah, they can actually, like, as soon as he gets a 2nd stack of poison, I feel like he can disrupt, and then they can spear, and he'll get 4 or 5 stacks guaranteed. Very scary.
Perfect timing to... Oh.
He actually blinks in aggressively, but Celery is around the area here.
Wait, what? Wait, oh, he's in trouble. He's... Oh, he's gonna miss. Oh, he's able to live. Well, long enough to at least see the death of Boom. Does still end up dying Supreme. But the Mits trading their lives 1 for 1 there.
That looked a little awkward how that all started off there. But both of them did check. They both had supports checking that 4-minute rune.
Yeah. But I mean, so we should sort of consider overall Viking probably the happier side that, you know, at the end of the day, Tiny is getting just as much out of this lane as the quad.
Yeah, I think you're very, very happy, all things considered. You've won all 3 lanes in a way.
Yeah, no, yeah, all 3 of their cores are in very good position. It's obviously very close very early, but
yeah.
No, it's absolutely been slightly a better start here for Viking across the map.
Saberlight looked like they actually wanted to go. Celery looked like he wanted to go for him, and Shad didn't. I think they could have if he had the enchant and stun and a spin, but either way, Saberlight, he was full HP, would have been a tough kill anyway.
Yeah, I think it's only level 2 spin, right?
Yeah.
Once he hits the 5,
Dire are
then
scanning.
maybe. But yeah, 1000 HP, it's a lot to get through.
The Sentinel Creep, you never underestimate how much damage they do, though. As you will miss the stun,
with an extra
but
bit
yeah.
of punches.
Yeah. They just didn't want to go for it anyway, as Saberlight, he'll be fine to continue laning down here, and he'll have very early arcane boots for him, too. That's going to be nice for him and Era to spam. Yeah, I feel like if you're Viking, you have to be very happy with the way that all this has turned out, because of how well this Tiny has done in the mid lane. We do see Supreme now. He has hit the level 6 quite a bit earlier, so we can see him look to make those counter ganks. And we are seeing 6-minute runes still being ever so important. Both sides very dependent on their bottle.
See who gets lucky here. Supreme. And it's going to be him. All up there for the Queen of Pain. Maybe something that allows him to set up on the side lanes. Top lane.
Oh, Charlie cut the tree. Very nice. He cut it as he was getting speared. Doesn't get speared to the tree. Bottom lane, we are seeing Stable actually has been forced to walk back to base. So Shad
Getting himself a lot of space here. Definitely more so than Charlie is getting top on his Spectre. This Jog is having no issues whatsoever farming on this bottom lane.
And he's been given pretty much all the experience too. He's got a full level advantage over that Spectre. Celery's just playing on the side mostly. And now with Catapult Wave, they're trying to pressure.
Would you have expected this Jug to maybe have more of an issue? I mean, you are in lane against the aura of the Underlord and the Fade Bolt of the Rubik. Should that not be enough to stop a Jug free farming on the early lane?
Nah, not too much. The damage reduction is really bad on Rubik now, and you only get 1 point in Atrophy Aura from now on, or the way that I've seen all these Underlords played. You only end up losing like 15% damage with that.
Pretty good stuff to play with this Jug.
They're committing on him bottom a little bit here, though, with that pit. Force him to spin away. Supreme's in the area.
I mean, they could try and dive with the burst of the Sonic Wave. They'd have a shot at Shad, but Shad, he's away. He's just running straight back to base. He's not sticking around. He knows that Supreme's on the hunt. Or just get the vision of them, so Shad able to avoid it. But now with Supreme heading back to mid, he can return to the lane. So they're just giving constant space to Boom. Boom is going to hit some good timings to get some good levels. In fact, he's going to TP down bottom to try and go for Saberlight. And Shad leading in. Celery's got the control with the Troll Summoner. Boom actually in with the combo. He's able to toss back Error into the Omni Slash, and beautiful moves from Boom will mean that they don't just get the one, they get both of them there, with Boom having that fortitude to head over and get the toss back. He sees the chance for both kills, and they get him.
And they get the easy kill up top on the CM. She shows her face. She's just a free kill to this Mars as well as this Shadow Demon. Charlie also has to be a bit careful. If he stays up here too long, they're going to go at him again.
They'll lay down the arena. Look at the damage there. With the 2 points in dispersion, Charlie pretty beefy against this sort of burst. So he'll be fine. As Force TP reactions, Error's now moved up to this top lane, so just continued space for Shad to do whatever he wants down bottom. Yeah, mid Boom. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see quite a good Blink Dagger timing this game from him, with the way things are going so far for the Tiny.
Yeah, he's got these phase boots. He's got 2 very easy targets to pick off throughout the majority of this game, the Rubik and the CM. The 3 cores are kind of hard. Queen of Pain he can set up for some of the times if she misplays, but Spectre and Underlord are very difficult targets for Boom to punish too much. But yeah, he can snowball. I want to see him be extremely active here. Man, this is the way that I want them to play too on Viking. They have to claim themselves a nice early lead in the beginning of the game and then really press that lead forward. Don't give NIP space. Don't give them just this breathing room with this Spectre lineup that we've seen win most games as it gets to later stages. But I like this Shad. He's queued up the Battle Fury too, so he's going to get that increased farm. And I've seen these Juggernauts. I've seen them match Spectres in late game too, so he can set himself up for that too. Yeah,
if Shad gets good timing on it, he's not going to have any. He's going to be able to keep up with the Spectre throughout the whole game.
Yeah, and they won't put a timing on them. I'm a little worried about them in like that mid game stuff, but this Battle Fury might make it so they don't have to worry about those timings because they have a Shadow Demon versus the Spectre, and they have the Jug matchup versus the Spectre.
You can see a smoke move from Viking. The Celery ready to leave the bottom half of the map and make plays up top with Boom.
Oh, they're all gonna clash. They're all gonna clash here.
Yeah, they're trying to go off Toby. Did Toby can turn this? He's able to lay down the arena spear straight away onto Supreme. They're stepping in with the avalanche. Supreme goes down. Hort's gonna come out. They turn over towards Toby. They'll take out the mark. He's down. Now looking towards Celery. They've got the stomp onto Misha. Boom, has he got any more power to take down the CM? He's trying. Saberlight's also turned over. Has the pick on a Boom, but Boom, he's taken down the CM. They'll run him down, the 3 of them. Boom trying to make him spend as much time as possible getting this kill. As he's going to be able to keep them busy for quite some time here with these phase boots.
Phase boot, faded towards Windlace. He's going to make him work for it. He will eventually go down. 1 more poison and he should pop. It whips.
He's still alive. Finally, he'll fall right underneath the tier 3 towers. He certainly keeps them busy.
Middle tower is under
he'll tell the team space is made, and Shad will say, no, yeah, you're right, my friend. He's getting all the space down bottom as this Jug, whilst Charlie was chasing for that. So Shad still on track for a very good Battle Fury time in this game.
Yeah, that was huge space. That was really nice. They killed Supreme right at the start of it too, and they get all of that space from him. Up to the 1k gold lead. Celery's also pressuring top. Vikings doing really nicely here. Era, he does have Avalanche stolen, so they're looking for Celery up top. Have the 2 points in the heal just picked up. Is it enough?
Still alive.
The heal's enough.
Actually coming out 2 on in the back. And now he's going to look to try and turn. Saberlight instantly out with the TP. Do they have the enough damage to take him out before the rift. They do. Viking GG putting a stop to Saberlight's escape.
And they're looking for more.
And they'll also look for more. Yeah, Aramis setting up with the demonic pillage on Terra. He'll turn with a stolen avalanche, but booms in with the original.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Viking making some
Radiant's
fast
bottom
moves.
tower is
And
under attack.
with that setup, they'll take this top
Radiant's
tower.
structures are
And at a pace a lot quicker than that of Charlie on his own down bottom. He's trying for that tier 1, but at this sort of move, they might be able to move for this thing. I'm going to see the Shadow Demon taken out, but Supreme caught in the arena. Because of this, he's gone. So not only did Supreme go in, drop the Sonic Wave to kill a Shadow Demon, he ends up dying as
Radiant's
well.
bottom tower is under attack.
That's not great.
That is not great.
That's
if he gets
that
the
is
kill and
not
gets
great.
out, it's decent
I
because
mean,
of the way that the pace is going, but it's still not a very valuable kill. And Viking just walk in, they steal a nice stack, as well as a second stack spotted. They're going to clear out this one too with the Wild Wing. And
Saberlight should be able to
Radiant's middle tower
take some of
is
this,
under
but no,
attack.
yeah, you're right. The Avalanche actually finishing off most of those creeps.
that's almost the blink done. 400 away. Keeping themselves at a
Dire's
very good
bottom
pace
tower
here.
is
This
under
Tiny
attack.
has the same net worth as a Queen of Pain. NIP are definitely going to struggle a lot now here because of this.
Oh, yeah, and you know, Spectre is 1k behind Jug, and a Jug that's 200 gold away from having Battle Fury. Chad at 13-minute Battle Fury is going to be this game. On top of the phase boost Wraith Band. This Jug's going to be far away that this Spectre's not going to be able to keep up with.
Yeah, and I feel like they went through the hardest part of the game for them so far here already. These first 13 minutes, I feel like for Boom especially, that was going to be his hardest time in the game. Now he's off to such a good start. He's going to have the Blink Dagger, so he can always pick and choose the Rubik and the CM in the fight. He can always pop them now because they're so fragile. And a Blink also finished on Toby.
Oh
Everything really
goodness.
kicking in together for Viking. NIP. Going to be a tough next few 5 minutes for them.
And because you have the Spectre lineup on NIP, I feel like you need to have someone that's leading the charge, making the plays right. I'm guessing that probably would be, on paper, it would be the Queen of Pain, but Supreme, he's had a rough start. He's 1, 3, and 2. He needs to be in a strong place, right? Because he's got to be the one making moves and leading the charge.
It's gotta be him and Saberlight. I hate seeing Saberlight hitting jungle right now here as this Underlord. Like, he has to be the one on lanes. Otherwise, they have to put on lane. Otherwise, people are just gonna die.
Supreme,
He actually gets.
he's actually a bit lucky there. They're a little bit of a mess. Paramis dropping the disruption. Toby had actually hit the stun on the spear on the cliff, but the disruption still came through from Aramis. So a little bit of a whiff there this time from Viking.
Boom had to blink the whole time. He could have just blink avalanched on the disruption. That was really weird. They just messed up their coordination and just.
Well,
they lost
I'll tell you what it was. I think it was the big brain
Radiant
play.
are scanning.
Boom didn't want to reveal the blink for the Quap because he knows the Quap's game's already
But
over.
he did.
Oh, he
He
already
did.
saw it? It was in
Yeah, he
red.
blinked
Okay,
in,
it was
and,
vision.
he blinked in
okay.
after the disruption ended and just whiffed the avalanche.
All right, then.
Anyway,
Yeah, there's no
Radiant's
excuse with
middle
that.
tower is under
That's right.
attack.
They made some mistakes, and now they're looking to still
Dire
look
are
to punish
scanning.
anyway here. They still have their ult on the Mars, so that's the big one.
That's him. Blinks.
I mean, Saberlight's still jungling because he wants to finish up this mech because he still feels fairly squishy.
Now they're coming out with the smoke on NIP.
Into Shad, though. I mean, Shad might just turn and be able to kill them here. This is a very tough smoke for them to actually step into, this triangle.
You don't have any sort of jump hard stun initiation from NIP either, so this Jug's going to be able to walk away all the time.
This'll come
What is there to stop a Blade Fury TP at? Yeah.
There is nothing.
No, take that.
NIP trying to smoke a catch here. They look at the hog to initiate.
On Toby turns quickly with the spear to stop the Spectre, but Arizim McSall Blade Fury is not enough damage. Now Boom, he's going to jump in with a combo, take down one. Supreme, he's looking for Boom, but the Omni Slash is out. Saberlight's trying for the rip, but they're not getting away from this Omni Slash. As they've got to run, NIP's got to get the heck out of it. They're trying. But Misha, he's chased down by Shad with Blade Fury. They get themselves 3 kills. As that was a very
Dire's
poor move from
bottom
NIP that ends up backfiring big time.
Supreme might still die here, too. He
He
jumped
blinked in! They see him! He's dead!
He's dead.
Oh, this is... I mean... 14 to 5, 5k lead at 16 minutes. I mean, this is how you deal with the Spectre, Fog. You make sure he's on the lineup that's 5k behind at 16 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Viking, they're on all fronts. They're just smashing NIP right now. NIP, I'm really confused the way that they're actually approaching a lot of these fights too. Is Saberlight again? He walks forward and he's just dead again.
He's gone. I mean, 0, 4, and 0.
Come on, sprites.
Error. Trying to live here through the burst.
Gonna jump back in.
He doesn't even need to for Error. He's going to turn back over. Aramis trying to step away. He's able to turn to get the disruption off. The ult from Misha does finish the kill. They're able to bring down a Shadow Demon, but they need a whole lot more than a Shadow Demon right now.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Looking for Celery. Celery has a Glimmer Cape. You're not
Dire's
chasing
middle
this.
tower is under attack. Dire's
And they'll get the
middle
tower now. Boom
has
just jumps
fallen.
in as they chase the Enchantress that they couldn't kill. And he gets himself a quick, easy tower.
And meanwhile, Shaddy's pretty much he's well on the way to his next time after the Battle Fury down bottom. He's nearly getting 10k net worth at 17 minutes in. This, yeah, he is having a perfect game as the Juggernaut. He couldn't be farming any faster.
I mean, Vikings just having the perfect game. NIP is just getting smashed right now, and the way that they're approaching the fights are really weird too. Like Saberlight, he's 0-4-1 now. It's much harder for him at this point to just beat this front line, but watching him just jungling for like some of those moments was really awkward. They had actually they had 4 heroes jungling at one point. So Viking, I think they just were like, we can pick and choose and do whatever the hell we want in the game.
At least something that the viewers can relate to. Like once, you know, we've all been there. 4 heroes in the jungle.
Yeah, it's just like you have to show somebody in the lane, otherwise it gives the enemy team, they have the whole map to do whatever the hell they want with. And that's what I just saw in this game. It's nobody was showing in lanes.
Radiant's bottom tower
So
is
it's
under
just
attack.
Viking they got to pick and choose whatever they wanted, and now they have this huge lead. It's gonna be really hard for NIP to really make any type of active moves at all because they don't have initiators. Rubik is a lift and a nuke, but they have to make these ganks like with a CM, a Rubik, and a Queen of Pain at this point, which is it's not going to work when you're this behind.
Super hard. And boom, he's got DD ready to drop in the next fight. He's going to pass it.
Radiant's
Did he pass his ball over to Shad? He did. Shad. DD in the ball ready to go.
They could just Roche. I think they actually could just start it.
They're definitely they're tempted. I mean, I guess you can, but it's also why take the risk, right? You know, they already know they're in a great position. Do they want to try and go for a Roche? Haunts up, Sonic Waves
They're very strong around the area, though. With Healing Ward on the side too, like it's still maybe a little bit early for it, but I did feel like they could.
I mean,
maybe they just want the fight anyway.
I think the thing is, there's no rush to get Roche, right? They don't. It's not like NIP is going to come and take it. You know.
That is true. That is very true.
They're like, we'll just keep playing our game. You know, it's working so far. They're this far ahead.
Yeah, I guess what I kind of meant was that forcing the Roche, it forces a fight, and then it forces NIP into your hands, and then like you can choose it, right? Yeah.
Like it would be the kind of the more aggressive move, and in a game where maybe they don't need to be going that fast, but they could because they are that far ahead. Like they have that opportunity. Without a doubt, I mean, Shadja, he's got a completed Manta start. Already they haven't been able to kill the Jug, I mean, because of the power of the Blade Fury against their heroes. Now with the Blade Fury and the Manta style, he's going to be very hard to catch. I don't see much locking down this Jug at all.
They're gonna. I think they just smoke. No, look for smoke or kills or smoke range. All right.
Yeah,
they go so safe. They're all full HP. That's the thing. Is like it's so hard for NIP to commit it to this with no initiation.
They're still in the jungle, NIP.
They're all jungling.
Get out of the jungle, boys.
They've got
Get into the lane.
Queen of Pain finally on Supreme, but again, just lacking initiator. They have the front line with an Underlord, but like we said, Saberlight isn't really that front line anymore. Sure, he's got mech, but he just dies. He'll die almost immediately when he shows his face. Just an Omni Slash or just a spear backwards into combo. Yeah, game feeling pretty difficult still for NIP. They've got the Manta at least on Charlie, so he's still big, but yeah, it's the other two cores and the supports that really aren't keeping up in comparison to their counterparts.
See, I mean, they're eyeing up Toby in the mid lane.
Got a blade.
There we go. In with the jump. Haunt as well. They're looking to commit for the kill. They'll get it. Mars goes down. So they can chase for more. Over towards Celery. Charlie's looking. Do have Jug coming out from the side though. Shad's going to be here. Can he help out Celery? The Sonic Wave comes out, boom. He's going to jump to look to flash Misha from accident, but it wasn't quite enough damage. Misha's still alive for now. Now the Omnislash comes into play. But already they're doing damage, trying to get themselves out. Are they able to do so? Saberlight with the Rift will take the rest of them out. So considering the way that the game was going, NIP actually able to come in with a pretty decent punch there, taking down 3. Toby having to buy back.
Pretty massive one there too. They unfortunately do lose the Queen of Pain as she gets hit by the majority of the damage in the cleave. But they do at least, they get themselves some pretty big kills. And especially onto that tiny. But that was everything committed. That was all of their ults, and they can only get 2. They really wanted to get more out of the
They got the Mars as well, right?
They did get them. Did they? Oh yeah, they did. You're right. They bought back. Good call. Good call there.
Now Vikings trying for the top tower. So they're going to have to back away with Supreme coming back to the game in 5 seconds. And of course, Shad still at the Aegis, so still plays to be made with their Jug. But a little bit of a kickback there from NIP. Still though, Vikings 6k ahead right now.
Yeah, they could play very aggressive here with this Aegis 2. With all those ults down, much more unlikely for Boom to have any trouble. As now Boom jumps in.
It's going to toss back Garrett into the blade fury. The spear's going to latch onto Saberlight. Have they got the damage to finish these kills off though? It doesn't look like it. They've got enough, but they need the help for Tiny. He's going to come in with the disruption. Defensive disruption there, helping out. The arena's down. Boom getting low. Supreme, can he jump forward from the kid? Look at the Shad. They do get the kill on the two of them. Shad's out with the blade fury, but Toby's left behind. The Mars goes down. Supreme jumps forward. He's looking for Shad. Shad will go down the once. Can they do it a second time? They need to get everyone over here onto the Jug. They're doing exactly that. He's not got a mantra or blade fury to use. There's NIP. They finish him. Time's being bought here with the defensive disruption. It allows him to get the blade fury off, but the damage is done. NIP turning the game around.
Turning the game around hugely there. That was without any of their ults. Charlie just standing in the midst of everything. He's getting to a point where he's too strong. And they also had, I believe, a stolen healing ward throughout the whole fight that Ara is microing in the backline, just pushing his teammates up to full HP.
Radiant's middle tower
We did say about Viking is we're concerned if they start making any mistakes. That's 2. And NIP, they capitalize heavily. They spectered everything out of it. The Fusel finish, Manta, almost
Charlie.
18. Yeah, Charlie's huge now.
Radiant's
it really does, as you say, just go to show. It doesn't matter how far you might have an advantage at the start. If you lose a few fights against a Spectre, Spectre's going to do spooky things.
And we're seeing, you know, Saberlight, now he's starting to look like this tanky beast for his team with the cloak, the greaves in the front line. We're seeing how Boom, he can't go for these backline targets because Saberlight's just this, he's this tank in the front.
Up and center in the mid. Actually, he should drop in the ult and try for this one. But now the arena's down. They've caught Saberlight. Horn comes out to the side. Good Sonic Wave pushes back both Aramis and Boom. Charlie, they'll take down Aramis. They'll take down Boom. Now they'll look over towards more. Saberlight getting low, but they're losing everybody here on Vikings. Four dead. It's a triple kill for Supreme. It's another huge cleanup for NIP. And that entire lead that Viking had and that commanding start that they began the game with, it's totally gone. Back down to even, and already when you see that sort of a swing into a team with a Spectre, it's hard to sort of see this swing come to a stop. This is going to just continue right into NIP's domain now.
Yeah, now Charlie's just too much of a beast, and Chad, he doesn't show up for one fight, and they may have just lost the game because of it. And this is what we said, 1 or 2 mistakes, NIP, they're capitalizing so big on it that they're even just going to get a Rax advantage off of just those 2 small things.
Nothing that Vikings GG can do to stop them. Shad's going to come forward, instantly pushed back. They will rift out. They'll come back for the range racks later. They got what they came for, the melee racks. Now up 2k and the melee racks. 24 minutes in this game, taking a complete turn from what we were seeing 10 minutes ago. As Vikings, yes, certainly going to pay the price now for those mistakes that NIP well and truly punished.
And we're seeing how the grand scheme of everything, you know, the panel was mentioning how this Tiny can have some, he can have some explosive stuff happen on the CM and on the Rubik, but in the grand scheme of all these things, when the Spectre and the Underlord now start getting these items to tank up, Tiny's going to start looking pretty much non-existent. Boom's combo, it's just there to just tickle them, really, as the Greave gets popped and it's fully counteracted. And that's his whole contribution as this bit Tiny now at this point. How fast things have turned.
Still Shad at the top, but he's got to hold that spot. As Charlie starts to take over, it's still, you know, the strength that Jug may have against the Spectre if he's, you know, with the back, it kind of feels most of those lie on him being a little bit ahead. You know, and sort of an even playing field at the end of the day. One's a Spectre, one's a Jug in the current patch. And we all know what Spectre likes to do. He likes to win games when he's at the top.
Yeah, and Spectre's not as reliant around things either as a Jug is. With Jug, yeah, you're still decent like right clicker and stuff inside of the fights, but you're still pretty reliant on Omni Slash. Spectre, you don't have Haunt, who cares? If your hero is there, you are doing so much. Haunt is just really to get you around into the fights and provide vision. Spectre overall just feels like a much easier hero to play, as we know. Yeah, now it just feels sad. I think Viking is probably feeling like they're in the same position. Just what do we do now? We have to just kind of hope that our Jug, the Chad, can somehow carry us versus the Spectre, because our heroes, we've just fallen off. There's just not much that they can really do with a Mars and a Tiny at this point. They're just the initiators. Damage all has to come from that Jug. Aramis almost has Aghanims too. That's one of the other things.
Okay, it could be the Spectre killer, yeah?
It's the break. You break that Spectre.
Oh, now! But for now, the Spectre's going to break him. Yep. Charlie comes over and smashes Shadow Demon to pieces. Another quick haul from NIP, reveals the position, sets up for the kills.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Toby and Shad to push that wave out, but NIP will be able to tank that tower. Gold continues to roll in for NIP. Viking GG, it's just a very hard ordeal now for Shad to carry this. He's showing top, they're heading up here. Well, Blade Fury TP out will save him every time.
Hey, unless he gets this shit up first.
See it, it's coming up, maybe turn him with the Omnis. That's the comfort. The arena's down, he's able to get them, one of them. Turns over towards Charlie, but the Blade Fury's out. Sonic Wave pushing them to the side. He's going for a TP out with the rest of Blade Fury, and he'll make it away. So Shad will live, but just unable to do the damage to kill these cores, and that as well was there in a situation where he did come in with pretty much a full Omni Slash. So the Spectre didn't get much lower than half HP.
No, she did not. It looked nice, but yeah, they tank right through it. And that is the Omni committed. So that's the big fight ability for the Juggernaut, besides just the right clicks, that actually commits into it. So about 100 seconds, where I do believe NIP have quite a strong window here. Roche is a long spawn, 2.5 minutes. Maybe a bit fortunate there for Viking. But I don't think NIP will mind either, because they will have Haunt they'll have everything available for themselves too. Aramis is really just trying to finish up this Ag. So, you know, this, like I was mentioning, this could do some decent damage. The 3 charges of Purge. You just keep purging that Spectre. There's going to be no Desolate or Dispersion, as it does break throughout the entirety of it. Also does some decent damage too.
Dire's courier has been
maybe this
killed.
could be that X factor that does give them a fighting hope for this Jug, for Shad, as he's still very farmed up.
Trying. Something up on this top lane by this with Viking GG. Toby with the arena up.
Charlie's in. Don't Celery.
Celery. Get out with the Glimmer. Look at the hole with the Frostbite. Challenger is scanning now. Charlie's looking to try and sweep over for more, but there it is. You just say the Aghanim finished on Shadow Demon.
And he's got the cast range, the special, you know, the Aether Lens, the Telescope, plus his talent. So he can't sit really far back.
Has to play these fights perfectly against the Spectre and make sure that full potential is used to slow down Charlie.
If he can get the positioning, which is probably the hardest part for the Shadow Demon, if he get the positioning and get these purges on Charlie with illusions beating him, Charlie will kill himself. But NIP, for the most part, will get the initiations because of these haunts.
On the end of this all with the Smoke Viking. Charlie. Fine, boom here, starts things off with the Blade Fury, moving towards him. First break's going to be dropped down on the Spectre, Horns out. Boom, he's going to go down, caught in the pit, he'll fall. Shad, looking over towards Saberlight, has the Omni Slash ready, but he's getting back with the Blade Fury. Toby drops Fury to trap Saberlight in. Supreme's committed, links into this, the Omni Slash comes out, but the blinks back up. Supreme's away. He'll be fine. Charlie. Shadow Demon. Still ready to go back in on this, and with the Shadow Demon gone for 45, there's very little in the game that scares Charlie right now. He'll be tossed over to the side, but boom goes down. Charlie chasing him for more. He's over towards Toby. The Mars will fall. Celery also caught out by Era, jumping and catching him with the spear. As that beginning of the game is just a distant dream here, distant memory for Viking GG as NIP. They've taken over big time now. It's 9k lead, 24-20. And with this Spectre leading the charge, there's very little on paper that you can sort of draw from to see any way of Viking turning this back in their favor as NIP are, and they're going to be running this one all the way to the victory.
Yeah, just too many mistakes here on Viking, and I say that it's only really like 2 mistakes that they made in this game, it felt like, but when you're playing this type of lineup, you have your Jug and your Tiny, it's very volatile around that mid game, especially when you're playing versus Spectre and all that. As NIP, they kept their cool. They knew if they get to this point in the game that they were just going to straight up win it, and yeah, they've done a pretty decent job at it. I like the targeting by Supreme there in that last fight.
A very good showing of just how to sort of keep things cool and just wait it out if the start is rough. And it certainly was, I think, even at a point where it was like 16 minutes in, it was like a 7k lead. And then boom, just all downhill. NIP now into the pit. This Roshan should be theirs unless Viking can try for a perfectly timed snipe.
Where are you going?
Be given some respect around the pit. Accelerate.
All right, Aramis, he has his illusions. Let's see what he can do with them.
Supreme, he's going to jump straight in with the Hex onto Aramis. He's dealing with the Shadow Demon, he's dealing with a big time. Pushes him onto the Sonic Wave. He's still alive though, Aramis. Supreme, fully committed to try and kill this SD. Will get him. Down in the river. Shat, he's got no Omnisash for 20 seconds, and they've already taken down two of them. NIP, they'll look towards Toby. The Mars will fall. Triple kill, they're just going to call it. They know that they cannot recover this game right now, Viking, as NIP will take game one. They kept their cool through the struggles of the early game, and then they just turned it around in a fashion. The Viking GG, they